Hello, students. So, today we are going to start with a new topic of sociology, that is marriage, its meaning, definition, aims, and its type. Let's understand what marriage is. Among the social institution, marriage, family, kinship, political, religious, educational institutions are very much important. Marriage, human beings like all mammals mate, copulate, and have children. Like other creatures too, they rear families which survive until the young one becomes independent. However, human, unlike animals, mate and procreate in some orderly way, to which they have given the name that is marriage. So, marriage is the basis of human society. Marriage is a social institution through which we can start a family. Marriage forms society as her social forms are reinforced by marriage. It is a basic institution found in all human societies because no other union of men and women meet all the requirement of mating, homemaking, love, and personality development at the level of biological, psychological, social, ethical, and spiritual evolution. In almost all the societies, marriage is understood as the legally and socially recognized sexual relationship, always between a men and women, uh, and usually with other restrictions of race, ethnicity, religion, caste, etc. Depending on the society, marriage may require religious or civil sanction, although some couple may be considered married simply by living together for a prescribed period. According to the Westmark, defines marriage as a relation of one or more men to one or more women, which is recognized by custom or law and involve right and duties both in the case of the parties entering the union and in the case of children born of it. According to the Hobble, marriage is the complex of social norms that define and control the relations of mated pairs to each other, their kinshipmen, their offsprings, and society. So, let's understand uh, the marriage in a simpler way that marriage bond not only connect the two adult individuals but also a wider range of kin people, parents, brother, sister, and other relatives of one partner becomes the relative of relative of other partner through marriage. Many new status and the roles such as mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, etc., come into existence after marriage. Let's understand the function and the importance of marriage. And before moving towards it, let's understand the characteristics of marriage. So, marriage is universal in every society. We find the marriage institution, and marriage is the basis for the formation of family, or we can say marriage. It is a gateway, and it is a social institution after which, after entering in it, one can start his family. Marriage forges a new social link with the marriage is a social institution through which our kinship group expands. Marriage fixes the responsibility of bringing up children on the parents, and marriage is the result of civil or the religious ceremony. Marriage is a means of contract of opposite sex for sexual gratification, which is a biological need. In a marriage, the male and female get the right of mutual relationship in economic, social, and biological spheres, and the legitimation of children born out of such union, which is a social need. So, after marriage, we can start the family, and the children which are born in a family are the legitimate child. Let's talk about its function. There are the basic function: biological function, social function, functions, economic function, and educational function. So let's talk about the biological function. The institution of marriage regulate and socially uh, validates the relatively long term legitimate sexual relationship between male and female. Marriage serves as a means for getting together to satisfy sex need and to start the reproductive process. It is true reproduction human species is replicated and society is perpetuated. Therefore, the institution of marriage serves the biological function. So, marriage fulfill the marriage perform the function of the biological function that satisfying of physical needs of the mm, biological needs, and for his gratification, um, one needed to be a married social function. If a marriage is also a way to acquire new kinsmen or relatives for the marriage, one add not only a spouse but also of a spouse relative to one's own group of kin. Marriage will link one kin group to another kin group. So marriage is not between two people, but it is between two families, and so the kin group or the relative of the bride or the bridegroom side included, and makes a big kin group. So it expand our kinship group. Economic function, let's see. The institution of marriage perform economic function in the form of bringing economic cooperation between men and women and ensuring the survival of individual in every society. Actually, the children born as a result of socially recognized marriage are accepted by the society as legitimate and legal heirs to the property and other assets of the family. Then educational function, the care and protection of offsprings are the heart of human social organization. The institution of marriage enable the parent to educate their young through the inculturation process. So we can say that through marriage, this through the marriage, the children which are born, and it will do the socialization in the family. The socialization is done, and the child learn, and it is the responsibility the child learn various things, the moral ethical behavior, as well as the other things, how to live in the society, as well as how to behave in the society, and how to make himself fit for the society, as well as it is the duty of the family to educate the child and to make him a better citizen. Let's talk about the other advantages of marriage. Marriage check prostitutions because men can satisfy his sex desire in a better way by keeping himself within the confine of marriage. Marriage gives healthy children to society because there are several men to look after them, and in its absence, the society will have to face so many problems regarding newborn child. Third, marriage, it is only after marriage a family comes into being. It is after marriage that there is a desire to perpetuate the name of family. Marriage has helped in maintaining high moral standard of which any society can really feel proud of. Without marriage, our whole social system would have created many social problems. Let's We have already discussed about the characteristics of marriage. So let's move towards the forms of marriage. There are various forms of marriage. The number one is the monogamy. So if you talk about the monogamy, it is a form of a marriage in which one man is married to one woman at a time. It allows one wife to have one husband till death, and only divorce separated them apart. This form of marriage is the only universal recognized form, and is the predominant even in the society where other forms exist. So there are two types of monogamy. Monogamy is the practice of one man marrying one woman at a time. Monogamy can be divided into two: serial monogamy and non-serial monogamy. Serial monogamy, we can say, in this type of monogamy, an individual will have life mate one after the another, but at a particular time, an individual can have only one life mate. For example, if the wife of a man dies, he will again marry only one woman. Non-serial monogamy. In this type of monogamy, an individual lives only with one life mate until death. For example, if the husband of a woman dies, she won't marry again. Let's talk about another form of marriage, that is endogamy. So, if we talk about the endogamy, if we talk about the endogamy, endogamy is a type of a marriage when one man when one marries someone within one's own group, and exogamy is a marriage when one marries someone outside one's own group. So let's talk a little bit more about the endogamy and the exogamy. So talking about the uh, exogamy first. According to the Hobel, exogamy is a social rule that prohibits a person from marrying within a defined social group of which he is a member. Exogamy is a practice of marrying outside a socially defined group. Exogamy refers to the rule of avoidance in the marital relation. Every community prohibits its member from having marital relation within certain person. Under this rule, marriage among close relatives, especially kins and the same clan or the social group, is prohibited. In Hindu marriage, Gotra and Sapind are such exogamous group. Gotra refer to a group of families which trace their origin from a common mythical ancestor and considered to be the blood relative from the parental side. Sapind mean that person of seven generation on the father side and five on the mother side cannot enter into marriage. In the northern India, in the some areas, a girl and a boy from the same village are not permitted to marry because the village is considered to be one unit and all the people are considered to be belonging to one large family. An example of exogamy. I'm talking about the third type of a marriage, that is an exogamy marriage, incest taboo. Prohibition of sexual relation between the primary kin is called incest taboo. Incest means sexual relation and taboo means prohibition. That means primary kin, in a primary kin, the sexual relation cannot be established. Marriage of a father, girl, mother and son, brother and sister is prohibited in every society, um, because it create confusion in the relationship, and because of the various other theories also, uh, it is incest taboo is supposed to be visited by the it is incest taboo is accepted, is universally accepted, and if we talk about the endogamy, that is a second type of a marriage. According to the Hobel, endogamy is a social rule that require a person to marry within a defined social group of which he is a member. Marriage with member outside the group is prohibited in India. The in India the is prohibited. In India, the caste is an endogamous group. A person is not allowed or accepted to marry outside one's own caste. Endogamy is also practiced in relationship to religion. A person of one religion is not expected to marry a person of another religion. If we uh, talk about the advantages of the endogamy, that it tends to maintain the sense of unity within the group. Women are happier with their own group as they do not suffer. They are aware of the culture and the custom. Other people do not gain authority over the group's wealth. The business secrets of the group are kept intact. Purity, homogeneity and numerical strength in the group is maintained. Traditional culture, language and traditions are preserved. And the defect of the endogamy is that we can say that endogamy encourages the groupism and the caste system and the shatters the unity of society. The scope of choice of a life partner is limited, due to which the malpractices such as unsuitable marriages, polygamy, dowry, bride price, etc. are there. Third, it generates hatred and jealousy for other groups. Let's talk more about the other forms of marriage, that is polygamy and polyandry. Polygamy is defined as marriage between one man has two or more wives at at a time. It has two forms. So we can talk about the polygamy. Um, In a polygamy, one man has two or more wives at a time. And in this type of polygamy, if we talk about the sorrel polygamy, in this type of polygamy, all the wives of a man are sister. And non-sorrel polygamy, in this type of polygamy, the wives of a man are not sister but belong to different families. If we talk about the polyandry, where polyandry is a type of a marriage where one woman is married to several men. There are two forms of it. Adelphic fraternal polyandry. In a Adelphic fraternal polyandry, a woman marries all the brother of her husband. The eldest brother is the head of the family. If we talk about the non-paternal polyandry, in a non-paternal polyandry, one woman has many husbands who are not brothers. So. Then we move towards the next form of marriage, that is levirate marriage and the sororate marriage. And if a woman in levirate marriage, women get married to the brother of her dead husband. It is called the levirate marriage, or we can say the Deva Viva. This custom is adopted by the Santlas, Gond, and the Kharia tribe. And sororate marriage, when a man marries the younger sister of the dead wife, it is called the surrogate marriage, or we can say in other terms, sali viva. It is called sali viva. So these type of marriages are there. Let's talk about the traditional forms of marriage, or we can say the ancient form of marriage. Hindu marriage is socially approved union of men and women aiming at dharma, the religious and divine aspect, procreation, sexual pleasure, and observance of certain obligations. Hindu marriage is that it is sacred band and a religious sacrament. Marriage binds the wife and the husband into an indissoluble band which lasts beyond death. So let's talk about the ancient form of marriages. So first is the Brahma Vivaha. The Brahma Vivaha form consists of the gift of a daughter by the father after decking her with ornament to a male learned in the Vedas of a good character. The bride's father himself invite this boy and give to the groom in Kanyadan. Or in other term, we can say that to find a suitable match for a girl, and to decorate the girl and give and through the kanyadan, and by performing all the rituals, rites and rituals, the bride's father himself invite this boy and give the daughter to the groom in kanyadan. If we talk about the dev viva, there's another form of viva. Dev form involves the gift of the daughter to a priest who duly officiates at a sacrifice during the course of its performance. It was considered as an ideal form of marriage in ancient time, but has become irrelevant today. So in this type of marriage, the father don't look for a suitable guy, and he just give his daughter. He just gave daughter to to a priest who duly officiates at the sacrifice during the course of its performance. And in the next is the Ashviva. Yeah, or Arshviva. In the Arsh form of marriage, the father gave his daughter in marriage to the bridegroom after receiving a cow and a bull or two pair of these from the bridegroom in accordance with the requirement of Dharma and not with the intention of selling the girl. The groom offered the cow and the bull as a token of gratitude to the father of the girl for enabling him to become a householder. This was the sanction. This was the sanctioned procedure of marriage for the sanctioned procedures of marriage in case they wanted to lead a family life. If we talk about the next form of marriage, that is Prajapati. If we talk about next type of marriage, that is Prajapati Viva. In the Prajapati form of the marriage, the father make a gift of his daughter by blessing the couple by saying, "May both of you perform together your dharma with due honors to the groom." It is a simple and inexpressive affair. This is a modified, less elaborate from the form of the Brahma Viva. The main difference lies in the rules of Sapinde exogamy. Asur Viva, in the Asur form of Viva, the bridegroom has to give money to the father or the relative of the bride as bride price. That is Kanya Shulk. Marriage by exchange is also permitted within this marriage. The next is Gandharv, which is also known as love marriage. In the Gandharv form of the marriage, the mutual consent of the girl and the boy is the only precondition for marriage. There is no intervention mm, from either the parent or the relative of the bride or the groom in arranging the marriage. It was a sanction from a marriage in exceptional circumstances and among certain classes, but it was not considered as an ideal in the tradition. Rakshas Viva. In the Rakshas Viva, the abduction of the girl forcefully without the consent of the girl during the course of abduction, some of the relative who come and seize the girl back may be killed. This marriage is known as marriage by capture among the tribals. This type of marriage was widely prevalent during the ancient age among the kings and as the prizes of war or the mechanism to improve the relationship with the defeated people. It was sanctioned, but not an ideal form of marriage. The last one is the Pishach Viva. In this Pishach form of marriage, man seduces a girl while she is sleeping or unconscious with intoxication. This is the least acceptable form of marriage. The man cheats the girl and thereby forces her to marry him. The woman, having lost her chastity, has no other alternative than to marry him. This type of marriage is recognized to protect the right of the cheated woman. So, according to Manu, among the above eight forms of marriages, Asur and Pishaj are undesirable forms. According to the Greh Sutras, Brahma Viva, Dev Viva, Arsh Viva, and Prajapati from bring merit to the families and their ancestors, while the Asur, Gandharv, Rakshas, and Pishach form bring none. Hence, the first four form, namely Brahmaviva, Devviva, Arshviva, and Prajapati, are cherished form of Hindu marriage. The other forms were looked on with different degree of disfavor. Thank you.